And in fact, our next speaker is probably what gives me hope. He is much younger, and he was born at the time I came to the US. So this whole Guru Parampara, that we are able to continue this tradition from one sort of guru to the next. So our next speaker, I'm going to introduce him, sir. It's going to be a video call. It's going to be video message. So that gives me hope. So the Sanatana Dharma, or the Indian tradition, has ensured that this knowledge is passed from one generation to the next. So the next speaker who's going to deliver a video on the importance of karma to achieve moksha. It's by Sri Jammalamadaka Srinivas. Jammalamadaka Srinivas, I'm just amazed that he speaks 6 languages: Sanskrit, Telugu, Hindi, English, Tamil, and Japanese. And he also knows Roman script. And I was talking about the so-called Guru Parampara. One of our first speakers, I think he was on day 1, Sri Mani Dravid Shastrigal. His disciple is one who is going to be delivering the talk today. That's the power of our Indian tradition and Sanatana Dharma. And Sri Srinivas Garu studied Krishna Yajurveda Samhita from Sri Brahma Sri Krishna Ganapati Garu, Tarka Shastram, Vyakaranam. And some of you may have heard about the Mahapariksha in Tenali, which is considered very, very difficult. And Srinivas Garu has successfully completed the Mahapariksha. And he also has been awarded Tarkaratnam and Vidwan Mani by Sri Jayendra Saraswati Swamiji, the senior head of the Kanchi Mutt. And some of you know this festival has been launched by his disciple, the current seer of Kanchi Mattam, Sri Vijayendra Saraswati ji. He has also, Srinivas has also been given Vidwan Mani by Kanchi Kamakoti Mattam after successfully completing the Chaturmasi examination in Tarka Shastra. He is also awarded Shastra Kala Nidhi by the governor of Madhya Pradesh. And he also studied Japanese language, and not first level, but he has gone up to 4 levels. So if he was live, I would have asked him to say something about Adi Shankaraji in Japanese. But I believe he is coming back on the 19th for a live talk. So Srinivas Garu, definitely, I would love to hear how Shankaraji's philosophy sounds in Japanese. His aims, sir, since you are still on the call, I'm just sharing with you, you had a call at the very end that this parampara, this knowledge has to be, shared with a lot more people for everyday life. And one of the aims of, Srinivas ji is to create a new generation of scholars to make the Sanatana studies relevant to the present generation by creating teaching and learning tools using present day technology. So here we're all locked down, we're all in our own homes, but yet able to reach the world. So we have the reach, we have the technology, and this is only a beginning. And we have people like, Jammalamadaka Srinivas Garu to really take up, this mission that you have sort of, laid out at the end of your talk. So with that, I request the organizers to play the video.
Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpadam Shankaram Lok Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashyakrito Vande Bhagavanto Punah Punah Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuranmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namaskaram. First of all, I would like to thank Advaita Academy for organizing this festival of oneness and giving me an opportunity to be part of it. And I am really elated to be part of celebrating Shankara. So today I would like to talk about importance of karma in order to achieve moksha according to Shankaracharya's Bhashya to Bhagavad Gita. So we have 3 prasthanas, that is Upanishad Prasthana, Bhagavad Gita Prasthana and Sutra Prasthana. One is called as Shruti Prasthana, Upanishad Prasthana. Gita is called as Smriti Prasthana, and Brahma Sutras are called as Sutra Prasthana. So we have four principal purusharthas that are dharma, artha, kama and moksha. And moksha is considered to be the primary purushartha. That means parama purushartha, that is why it is called as parama purushartha. Because it is not achievable or attainable. That means if you do some kind of ritual, you may attain dharma, artha and kama. But moksha is something that which you cannot attain, that which you cannot acquire by doing something, because moksha is nothing but being in the state of Brahman. That is not even realizing yourself to be Brahman. Realizing yourself to be Brahman is different from being Brahman. So moksha is being Brahman. So everyone is Brahma Swarupa according to Advaita Vedanta. So being Brahman is a natural state. So what is stopping from us from realizing that we are Brahman is ajnana, that is the ignorance that we do not know that we are Brahman. So in order to get rid of this ignorance, we need something called as tattva jnana or brahma jnana, that is to know what is the real state of being Brahman. So that is called as tattva jnana. So that is why tattva jnana is the key to moksha. So do we have any reference stating this? I would like to state a sentence from Bhagavad Pada's Bhashya in the second adhyaya of Bhagavad Gita, that is Tayoscha sarvakarma sannyasa purvakad atmajnanat nanyato nivrittihi. Tayoho means shoka and moha are here. Remember, that means shoka and moha are the basis of the samsara, and shoka and moha are caused by ajnana. So what is the main cause, or how, in which way can we get rid of this ajnana, is from jnana, and that not anything, not any jnana, but sarva karma sannyasa purvakad atma jnana deva kevalat. So you need to leave all the karma, that is all actions, all rituals and everything, you need to leave them, and then the jnana, brahma jnana which is there, that is the primary cause to get rid of this ajnana. So in order to do this, when can one leave all this karma? So in other bhashya in the 5th adhyaya, yuktah karma phalam tyaktva shanti mapnoti naishtikim ayuktah kamakarena phale sakto nipadyate. This is the 12th shloka in the 5th adhyaya. And in here, how does one attain this naishtiki sthiti, that is this brahma bhavapatti sthiti, jnana nishtha, is by sattva shuddhi jnana prapti sarva karma sannyasa jnana nishtha kramene iti vakya seshaha. This is what Brahma Bhashya says. So that means one need to have sattva shuddhi, then apata jnana, then sarva karma sannyasa, and then jnana nishtha. So this is the order that you need, you can attain, which is called as jnana nishtha. So the first step is sattva shuddhi. So how does one get or achieve sattva shuddhi? So sattva shuddhi is something you can only achieve by karma. How come we know that you can achieve by karma? So there is this verse in 3rd adhyaya, tasmad asaktas satatam karyam karma samachara asakto hyacharam karma paramapnoti purushaha. So here asaktas satatam karyam karma samachara. Here Bhagavan Shri Krishna is advising Arjuna to perform karma but asaktas san karyam karma samachara. You detach yourself from the reward of the karma and perform the karma, and this will lead to paramapnoti purushaha. So here then that will lead to moksha, param moksha. There the bhashya goes something like this: param moksham apnoti purushaha sattva shuddhidvarena. If someone detaches himself or detaches the reward or phalam from the karma and performs the karma, this karma will lead to chitta shuddhi or sattva shuddhi, and sattva shuddhi will, like said before, will eventually lead to jnana nishtha or tattva jnana or whatever you may call it. So in order to achieve moksha, karma is very keen. Karma plays a very key role. So how should one perform karma in order to attain sattva shuddhi? Again, we have another shloka: yajnarthat karmanonyatra lokoyam karma bandhana tadartham karma kaunteya mukta sangas samachara. So here Bhagavan Shri Krishna says yajnarthat karmanonyatra. Here the word yajna means Parameshvara. That means you need to perform karma not for the sake of reward or phalam of that karma, but I am doing this for the only sake of Ishvara Preeti. And in another bhashya to another shloka, he even defines how should that feeling should be, Ishvara Arpana Buddhi be. That is, Ishvaraya karmani karomi na mama phalaya. So I am doing this ritual or this action not for the reward or the phala of this particular karma, but I am doing this for the sake of Ishvara. So if we actually observe in every karmanusthana, in the beginning, at the time of sankalpa, we are used to say Parameshvara Muddishya Parameshvara Preetyartham in the beginning, and after completing the karma or ritual, at the end we say Tatsat Brahma Arpanamastu. So if you now try to find a relation between this shloka Yajnarthat Karmanonyatra and to the sankalpa or the upasamhara of any karma, you can find the relation that our ancestors have designed the karma, our karmanusthana, in such a way that by knowing or unknowingly we are performing our karma for the sake of Parameshvara Preeti. That means we are not doing for the sake of the reward or phalam of that karma, but we are performing this ritual or karma for the sake of Ishvara Preeti. So if you realize that, then one can know that it is really very higher level of performing karma. So here again we get a normal doubt. If everything is to be done for Ishvara Preeti, we do have many rituals prescribed in Shruti and Smriti for particular rewards or phala, as if Somayaga for Svarga, and there are other karmanushthanas for wealth, for progeny, and etc. So like Putra Kameshti for progeny. So what is the meaning, what is the essence behind all these karmas? Because they have a different outcome. So there is a jeopardy, but we should get to know that so there are different stages or mindsets for the performer of any anushtana. So if you cannot relate yourself with the Vedantic perspective, then you can go with the worldly matter. That is, if you're not feeling that this kind of approach, that is doing any ritual for the sake of Parameshvara Preeti, if you're not quite happy with it, then fine. If you're happy with Swarga, do the karma for the sake of Swarga. If you're happy with attaining wealth and you want wealth, then do that. So that is a Madhyama or Adhamadhikari's perspective towards ritual. So Uttamadhikari will definitely think about the Paramartha, that is the eternal essence of anything. Whatever he does, he thinks about the Parama Purushartha, or he will be every time trying to connect himself with the Parama Purushartha, that is moksha. So, who is in sync with the Vedantic perspective can do the same ritual for moksha, that too through the Sattva Shuddhi. So he can do that. If you are not able to connect yourself with this kind of a perspective, then you are always you can always perform the karma for that particular reward. And even there is this verse, karmanaiva hi samsiddhim asthita janakadayaha lokasangrahamevapi sampashyam kartumarhasi. Here Bhagavan quotes Janaka to be another example who performed karma. At the same time, even by performing karma, he attained moksha. So there are two commentaries on for this shloka in the Bhashya of second Adhyaya, if I am not wrong. So there are two meanings that Bhagavad Pada gave us. That is, first meaning is the word samsiddhi means moksha. So karmanaiva hi samsiddhim asthita janakadayaha. Janaka has attained moksha with karma. This is what you get the literal meaning. But what does that mean? In the Bhashya, Acharya explains that even being a Brahmajnani, Janaka did not do karma tyaga. So, did not do karma tyaga. So, here the Tritiya is called as Saharthe Tritiya, that is, along with Putrena Sahagata Pita, that is, the father came along with his son. So, here the Tritiya is called as Saharthe Tritiya. In the same way, here also in this shloka, karmanaiva. So here we have a Tritiya Vibhakti, and there is also Saharthe Tritiya. That means Janaka has attained moksha. Siddhi means moksha along with karma. So how can one attain moksha along with karma? That is by detaching the phala relation with the karma. So this is one derivation of that shloka. And the second second meaning in the second commentary that Bhagavad Pada says that samsiddhi means sattva shuddhi and not moksha. So he attained sattva shuddhi through karma. So here the tritiya is karanarthe tritiya. So here the cause for sattva shuddhi is karma. This is what you get from that commentary. So how then, which kind of karma would be the cause for chitta shuddhi? That is the karma without the connection of phala. So in this way, karmanaiva hi samsiddhim asthita. In this way, we get to know that karma is very much needed for moksha. So by giving two meanings for the same shloka, Bhagavad Pada emphasizes the importance of karma in order to attain moksha. Along with this, I even wish to quote some other verses from Bhagavad Gita, from chapter 3, where Krishna stands as a living example for performing karma despite being a Jivan Mukta, despite being a Brahmajnani. So he says, if I do not perform karma, so many people will follow my path by not performing karma despite being in samsara. So that is what he says, Name Parthasti Kartavyam Trishu Lokeshu Kinchana. I do not have anything, I do not have any purpose to gain, not to lose anything. Nanavaptam avaptavyam varta evacha karmani. I do not have to lose anything, I do not have to gain anything. But still I am in the path of karma, because many people find me as an inspiration and follow my path. So if I do not follow, if I do not perform karma, you see, I am now at present in the midst of a war. So I have actually nothing to do with the war. I know the eternal truth, but still I am part of war on your side, because I have to perform karma, I have to perform my, because Kshatra Dharma, Yuddham is something, participating in a war is Kshatra Dharma. So I am a Kshatriya, and in according to that, I have to be part of a war. So I am right here standing in front of you, despite knowing the eternal truth, despite knowing that I am the Brahman, but still, as I am in samsara, I am participating in the war and showing and being an example, living example for people who think of me as an inspiration, that they also have to perform karma. But what is the difference between a normal person and a Brahmajnani performing karma is this, that a Brahmajnani does not attach himself with the phala, but in contrast to the layperson. Even we find the same from Karmanaive Samsiddhim Astita Janakadeha. Janaka was a Jivan Mukta, but still he performed karma. So this is what we even get to know there. So what happens if one does not perform karma? This is the next question that may arise. So here he says that Utsi deyurime lokana kuriyam karma chedaham kar sankarasya kartasyam upahanyami maaf prajaha. So if I do not perform karma, the equilibrium of the cosmos may lose and chaos may occur. Because karma is something which is the cause for Jagat Sthiti. This is what we get to know from the commentaries of the Bhashya. In the opening words, in the opening sentences of the Bhagavad Gita Bhashya, Shankara quotes, says something like this: Dvividho hi vedokto dharma pravritti lakshano nivrittischa. So here the word dharma is used, and dharma means any prescribed karma prescribed by Shruti or Smriti. So this is pravritti lakshana dharma. So what is dharma? Dharayati iti dharma, that is Jagat Sthiti Hetu. This is what you get to know from the commentaries. So the cause for the stability of our Jagat Sthiti is dharma. So in that way, the stability of the cosmos is maintained by performing karma, and that too in accordance with the Varna Dharma and Ashrama Dharma, not with without violating the rules of Varna Dharma and Ashrama Dharma. One has to perform his own karma. Even another shloka, Niyatam Kuru Karmatvam. So he says that Kuru Karma, he prescribes to perform karma. So in this way, maybe we can even go on quote many verses in this way, as we don't have much time. So I would like to summarize my talk by saying that Jnana is definitely, Brahma Jnana is definitely the primary cause in order to attain moksha. But many people do magnify Jnana, and they do not even mention about karma. So we need to know that even if we see the darshanas or sutras in that way, first we have the Athato Dharma Jignasa Jaimini Sutras, and then comes Athato Brahma Jignasa. So that means we are, even the Vedas, Samhita, Brahmana, Aranyaka and Upanishad, they also come in that in that order. That means one has to come or achieve the maturity to know about the Brahma through performing karma. So karma is a very stays in a very crucial junction. So through karma one has to attain moksha. This is what I feel after studying this Prasthanatraya or whatever. I feel that karma has a very very important role. Karma plays very important role in achieving all the four purusharthas, because dharma and artha and kama, they are achieved by karma. That is very much evident. But even moksha is also very much needs karma. So this is what I felt. So I once again thank Advaita Academy for giving this opportunity to share my views about the importance of karma. Thank you. Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you so much, Srinivas Garu, for a short yet very pointed, clear presentation. We're looking forward to hearing you live in a few days. So with that, we are concluding the 8th day of the festival, session 2. We will again see you in about 12 hours with our day 9, session 1. That is Wednesday morning, May 6th, in India time, 6 a.m. IST, which will be May 5th, 5:30 p.m. PST on the west coast of the United States, or 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the east coast of US. We'll have 2 speakers. In fact, 1 speaker and 1 music performance. Nirvana Shatakam by Sri R.S. Raviji from Singapore. That will start at 6 a.m. India Standard Time, followed by a music performance, which will be delivered in the form of a video by Srimati Geeta Chandrasekhar at 6:45 a.m. Indian Standard Time. We look forward to seeing you all. Once again, please follow us on Facebook's Advaita Academy page and tell your friends to register. Our goal is to create awareness, curiosity, and also interest in the relevance of the life and works of Adi Shankaracharya ji to the modern world. Thank you all for joining. Namaste.